Hello, welcome to Tuesday, September 15th, daily lesson. Today we're going to, of course, start out doing your warm-up. So when you go do your warm-up, please make sure you enter those incomplete sentences and explain the purpose for writing each of these academic vocabulary words. So, for example, the purpose of the thesis statement is to act as a road map for the reader and let them know what the entire essay is about. So I want you then to write me sentences that tell me the purpose of the topic sentence, concrete detail, commentary, and closing sentence. So you can pause the video and go do your warm-up. Okay, so yesterday you worked on your outline for the compare and contrast essay that we're going to do. So I'm going to go over that outline with you. I did get a chance to look at some, but not everybody's outline. And I think some of you just need to go back and make some little corrections. So let's go here. Here's a sample of a model outline that I did doing the comparison contrast essay that we're going to do with Through the Tunnel and The Seventh Man. This is using Toy Story and Inside Out. Toy Story, of course, is a linear plot story, and Inside Out is nonlinear. In Toy Story, it's linear, and we can see how the action builds, because in the very beginning we have Woody, and we get his backstory about how he's Andy's favorite toy. And then we get that inciting incident when Andy has a party and gets a new toy, and Buzz takes Woody's place. And then we have in the rising action Woody planning to get rid of Buzz, but that plan backfires. And then all the problems they have trying to get back home to Andy, till they all the way up to Sid, dealing with Sid and the rocket. And then you have the resolution of how Buzz realizes that he's just a toy, and him and Woody become friends. And Inside Out, we have it's nonlinear. We have Riley, the little girl who has a traumatic event happen in her life of moving from where she's been raised and moving to San Francisco. She's that was her first bit of trauma. She gets to the house. The house is not what she was expecting. Her things are gone missing and won't be there for 2 weeks. You have the broccoli pizza. She was just having one bad incident after another. And the emotions were trying to help her feel better by showing her flashing back to happy memories. But instead of those happy memories making her feel good, they only made her more sad, as it reminded her of what she once had. So the essay I'm going to show you the outline, but I will be using that essay as a comparison of what is expected for you to write with your essay. So this is just a model, and it's just meant to be used as a guide. You're not copying this down. You're just using this as a reference, as a model. All right, so here is my thesis statement. So all you need to do with the first Roman numeral is to state your thesis statement, which is the main idea of the essay. It tells the reader what it is, like I said, the roadmap to the reader to know what to expect to be reading in each paragraph. The linear plot of short story, notice it's underlined. Since it's typed, it really should be handwritten. It should be italicized, but when you handwrite it, you underline it. I just wanted to show you how to properly document a movie. So back to the sentence. The linear plot of Toy Story helps create suspense, while the nonlinear plot of Inside Out develops deeper understanding of the main character. So this is answering what the prompt is asking us to do, is to write an essay and showing the effects of linear and nonlinear plot on the story. The effect is, with linear, it builds suspense. The effect of nonlinear, it develops the character more. So what is my first paragraph going to be about? My first body paragraph will always be about whatever I list first. So I must be talking about nonlinear plot. I must be talking about linear plot. And I'll be using Toy Story as my example. So in my next bullet, all I'm writing is my topic sentence for that paragraph. Now, a topic sentence should only be about the topic. It shouldn't include the topic sentence. Again, should not be have anything to do with the example. It's only about what the topic of the essay is about. So it's only talking about linear plot. So the linear plot, I think that's the way. The linear plot driven narrative is exciting and action packed, and it builds suspense and tension through the rising action. So as you can see, this topic sentence is supporting the thesis statement about it creating suspense. But look at how I'm saying it in a different way. I'm still explaining suspense, but in a different way. So it does not sound redundant if I was just to copy that. We wouldn't want to do that. You don't want to do that in your writing. You don't want to just copy and paste from one part to another. It just makes your writing boring and redundant. So my next body paragraph will be about nonlinear plot. So the nonlinear plot-driven narrative allows the reader to flash back, which is important to mention because that's what it does, in time, and to learn more about the main character's backstory so they can better understand the choices the character makes throughout the story. So as you can see, again, this is just talking about the topic of the non-linear plot and its effect on the reader, and that is to develop a deeper meaning of the character, understanding of the character. Again, notice how I've said the same thing, but in a much different way. Now, finally, our closing sentence is going to sum up the ideas. It's going to, and then end with a powerful statement. Okay. So the plot development has an impact on the narrative and shapes how the reader experiences the story. Can a person say one structure is better than another? And then that's your outline. You've pretty much just set up your first sentences for your body paragraphs, your thesis for your introduction, and then your closing. And not to say that you can't go back and change these if you want to. If as you're writing, you feel like you can develop a better sentence, that's okay. Writing is a process, and it's always improving. So I'm expecting to see things change. That just means you're trying to be a better writer. Okay, so the outline for your essay. So we're gonna work through part of the essay together, and you're going to be responsible for completing another part. So you'll need to go to Google Classroom, and you will need to get that outline worksheet. That's a graphic organizer. You can go back to your outline worksheet that we did yesterday. And if you realize you did things wrong, because there were some students who were like writing whole body paragraphs in here, and all you needed to do was a sentence. You can go back and edit that. That's completely fine, and update it and resubmit it. No problem. No consequences at all. All right. So this will be the outline for your essay. We're going to, as you can see, you can still use that same thesis statement that I used for the one with Toy Story and Inside Out. It works the same because it's the content. The only thing that's changing is what examples I'm going to be using. So that's our thesis statement. Again, these body paragraphs are exactly what I'm going to be talking about in the Through the Tunnel and Seventh Man. So those work. So we're keeping those. You will, however, write your own original topic sentence for the second body paragraph. Remember, this paragraph is going to be about nonlinear plot. So you'll come up with your own original topic sentence as you will be writing this paragraph on your own. And of course, the closing, the plot development has an impact on the narratives and shapes how the reader experiences a story. Can a person say one structure is better than the other? And I'm going to have you, and it will be a slide to explain this, write your own summary of the main ideas. You can use that thought-provoking or memorable moment. You can use this question as that for yourself, and we'll work on those later. Okay, so introductory paragraphs. Remember our prompt is we're going to explore the effects of the types of plot development, linear plot through the tunnel, and nonlinear plot in The Seventh Man. Basically, with the thesis statement, you want to restate the prompt in the form of a sentence that answers the prompt, and that's what we have done. So again, let's go back to this is a model. This is just for you to use an example. It's only a guide. You're not copying this one down. So in an introduction, you need to have a hook and bridge. A hook is there to grab your reader's attention. The bridge is to be that sentence that connects that hook and the thesis statement. Now, we're not really doing, since we're doing a comparison contrast, we're hooking our reader by telling them what we're comparing. So both Toy Story and Inside Out are stories about survival in a, that should be, let me change that. Okay, so I went and fixed that. So both Toy Story and Inside Out are stories about the main character's love for a child and what length they would go to protect that child. All right, so I've kind of introduced and hooked the reader by at least telling what the stories, the connection between the two stories. The bridge, again, is going to be that sentence that's going to then help lead into that thesis statement, so there's not a harsh jump from a hook to a thesis statement. However, the different ways the author develops each story's plot produces a different effect on the reader. As you can see, that is what's being discussed here, what we've been asked to discuss in the prompt. So we're starting to connect the prompt to the thesis statement. And again, here's the same thesis statement. The linear plot of Toy Story helps create suspense, while the nonlinear plot of Inside Out develops a deeper understanding of the main character. And if we were to write it out in paragraph form, you notice you would indent and write the paragraph. Okay, now we're going to look at your essay. So now this is where you would need to have your worksheet out so that you can fill in the graphic organizers with the part of the essay that we're going to work together. And your worksheet looks like this. I'm going to go to make it bigger again, go to View, go to Zoom and do 100, and then you can see it better. You have these text boxes here. You just click on it, and then you can erase the type here and start typing. Be sure to keep it in Arial Narrow 11. If for some reason you've written to so much it won't fit, and keep it in the box, then just make the font a little smaller. So this is where we're going to be, again, filling in information from the slides into this worksheet. All right, so for your hook and bridge, we're actually just taking the same hook and bridge and using it, but we have to clarify the difference. So for that hook, we need to get what's that common theme that's between both stories that helps them be connected. So both Through the Tunnel, notice it's quotation marks around it, and The Seventh Man, short stories, you use quotation marks around. Both Through the Tunnel and The Seventh Man are stories about survival in a coastal adventure. However, the different ways the author develops each of the story's plot produces a different effect on the reader. So the only thing we did was pull out the titles of our examples and switch them out, and then explain this. Of course, these two stories were different than Inside Out and Toy Story. We're going to use the same thesis statement because it is answering the prompt, and we're just using, again, different examples. So you can pause your video and go fill in your graphic organizer. Here, I already did the hook, but you will need to write in the thesis statement. So pause the video and do that. Okay, so whenever you do your essay, sorry, the wrong one. The next part is the body paragraphs. And so we're going to go through some notes about how to write a body paragraph. Again, has it directs here. First, you will read through the notes. We're going to go through the notes. Second, I'm going to model a body paragraph using my sample essay. And then last, you will work through the, we will work through the first body paragraph together. You will then copy that paragraph into your graphic organizer. So body paragraphs, these are 2 body paragraphs. They are the 2 paragraphs in the middle, and the first one body paragraph is going to be linear. The one's going to be about nonlinear. And the way we will structure our essay is our body paragraphs is have a topic sentence, concrete detail sentence, commentary sentence, and a closing sentence. So this is just the basic formula for writing a paragraph. The first topic sentence tells you what the topic of the paragraph is. The concrete details will be the facts and the evidence. There's no room here for giving your input. It's just straightly facts and details from the story. And then commentaries when you're going to explain how your concrete details support your topic sentence. And then your closing sentence is going to bring it to a close by finishing it up and giving it that polished end feel. When we were doing a response to literature, we would use 1 concrete detail to 2 commentaries. And when we respond to an essay prompt like today, which is more of an expository where you're explaining, we're making a comparison, but we're explaining, you give 2 concrete details to 1 commentary. So again, just reinforcing the topic sentence is that first sentence of the paragraph, and it lets the reader know what that paragraph is about. Every paragraph must have a topic sentence. Do not start your body paragraphs with, for example, and start talking about Toy Story. Then you're not giving your reader a topic sentence. So let's look at this example. So a topic sentence is going to be your subject plus an opinion, and your opinion is what's answering the prompt. So running is an excellent sport. So the subject of the sentence is running, and the opinion is it's an excellent sport. So our topic sentences are linear plot, and our opinion is it builds suspense. Or our subject is nonlinear plot, and our opinion is it builds a development of character. So concrete details are going to be those facts that you would pull from the story. This does not have to be quotes. You're just paraphrasing information, but it has to be something that happened in the story. So for example, here's our topic sentence. Notice the transition. Always when you're introducing your your example, you want to use a transitional words and phrases. For example, of course, is 1. You can do for instance. For example, running is a great exercise that increases muscle mass and reduces body fat. So that's a fact, that's a detail. Running also improves heart health. So there are 2 facts and details that support the topic sentence. The commentary is when you get to comment on the concrete detail and help explain for the reader how that example that you give and helps prove that your topic sentence is true. So this shows that running helps people feel healthy. So this little phrase here, this shows that, is something that we're going to be using for a little while, but eventually we will get away from it. It's just to help you to write good commentary. A lot of students sometimes continue to give more facts instead of help explaining. So by writing this shows that, it's forcing you to explain what this quote is showing. But if you just take it out, running helps people feel healthy, which is an opinion. The sentence still makes sense. And of course, our closing sentence is going to restate your subject and opinion and bring it to an end. So running is a terrific sport. Of course, these are very basic, simple sentences. So here's the model. Again, this is just for the linear plot effect on Toy Story. You're not copying this down. This is just a guide meant for you to use just to model your own writing after. So we had already given the topic sentence in our outline, so I'm using that same topic sentence. And then I'm going to go into my example from Toy Story. For example, in Toy Story, Woody feels he will be replaced by Andy's new space toy Buzz Lightyear, and he devises a plan to get Buzz out of Andy's room for good. When the plan backfires, Woody must learn to work with Buzz to make it back to Andy, although they have many obstacles in their way, including the toy destroying neighbor Sid. Notice I'm trying to prove that the linear plot is action-packed and exciting and that it builds suspense. So I'm proving that by showing what happens, telling my reader and showing my reader what's happening in the movie to prove that to be true. These are facts, these are details, these are things that did happen. Now, in my commentary, I need to explain how these details, these facts, support my topic sentence. This shows that, see that little phrase there, without the foreknowledge of Woody and Buzz's safe return home and new friendship, the reader is able to experience tension and anxiety Woody and Buzz feel, especially trying to escape Sid and deal with the rocket strapped to Buzz. So it's important for me here to explain how it's not like linear plot, and by saying without the foreknowledge, because nonlinear plot would have known ahead of time how the story ended, where we would have known that Woody and Buzz made it home safe. But since we didn't, the linear plot helps build that excitement and tension. So it's important for us to explain that to our reader. And then the closing sentence. By progressing the reader through the chronological order of events and experiencing the unknowns of the character's action, the linear plot builds suspense that holds the reader's attention. So notice how this closing sentence is tying back to that topic sentence. I'm not talking about the example, but it's bringing my essay or my paragraph, to a close, and it's connecting everything together. I'm explaining again and showing and summing up how linear plot builds suspense. So you can pause. Oh wait, no, you're not going to write this down. Remember, this is just an example. And if we were to write it out in paragraph form, here's the introduction. And every time we have a new paragraph, we indent. And this would be what your first body paragraph would look like. If you remember from last year when we were highlighting and using Jane Schaefer writing, our topic sentences are always highlighted blue. Our concrete details are always highlighted with a pink or red pen or pink highlighter. Our commentary is always green, and our closing is always blue. So the first body paragraph that you're going to be doing for Through the Tunnel and for just for Through the Tunnel. So we're going to go ahead and start working on filling in that graphic organizer. So we're again using the same topic sentence that was in our outline. Now we're going to get into the examples. For example, in Through the Tunnel, Jerry is determined to prove that he is no longer a child by swimming through the tunnel like the older boys. After spending a short period of time training his body to hold his breath longer underwater, Jerry tests his training skills by going through the tunnel and counting the seconds he is holding his breath to make it through the tunnel. Okay, so to talk about these concrete details, notice I can't tell everything about the story. I only need to tell what's relevant. I only pulled what part of the story to me that was exciting and action-packed and shows suspense. And I just tell what I need to tell enough for the reader to understand and follow. Because I have to always assume the reader has never read the story. But by writing it this way, I've told them just enough for them to understand my point, that a linear plot narrative is suspenseful. Okay, now I need to explain how these example sentences support my topic sentence. This shows that without the foreknowledge of Jerry's success through the tunnel, the reader is able to experience the tension and anxiety as he struggles through the tunnel, repeating the same number and losing consciousness. So if you notice, I kind of just took the same sentence from my sample essay on Toy Story, and I just changed it up to the fit the storyline of Through the Tunnel. Again, as you can see, I'm explaining how the quotes support my topic sentence. And then closing by progressing the reader through the chronological order of events and experiencing the unknowns, the character's action, the linear plot builds suspense, which holds the reader's attention. And I just use the same concluding sentence because it is saying the same thing as the topic sentence, just in a different way, and bringing my paragraph to a close. And if we were to write this essay out, this is what it would look like. All right, so you can go back to your graphic organizer and you can pause the video now and you can copy down these sentences onto your graphic organizer. Okay, second body paragraph. I'm going to model how to do the nonlinear plot using Inside Out. This is, again, a model. You're not to copy it. It's only to be used as a guide. So in contrast, nice transition, because I want to show that what we're doing is the effect is different than linear plot. In contrast, the nonlinear plot-driven narrative allows the reader to flash back in time to learn more about the main character's backstory, so they can better understand the choices the character makes throughout the narrative. And Inside Out. For instance, notice I use a different transition for this example. It's always good to change instead of using, for example, in both paragraphs. It just makes your writing more interesting to change it up, and so it doesn't sound redundant. For instance, in Inside Out, the life-changing event of moving from the Midwest to San Francisco causes Riley's world to turn upside down, and her emotions, led by joy, try to guide her through this difficult time by flashing back to old happy memories like playing with her hockey team. Notice it's important to mention flashbacks since I am talking about nonlinear plot. Instead of helping Riley, these flashbacks sadden her and remind her of what she feels she has lost in the move. Again, notice these are no opinions. I'm giving you straight facts and details of what happened in the story. This shows that without the flashback scenes, the reader would have a hard time perceiving how happy Riley was, happy in her old hometown, and now the move has crippled her emotionally. So I've explained how important those flashbacks are to see that this girl was once a real happy girl. If we started at the end where she's all sad and depressed, we wouldn't understand the journey she makes. By presenting the events out of order, the reader focuses on how the character is reacting and participating in the events and not focusing on what's happening to the character, which is very much the same thing of what we did in what happens in The Seventh Man. All right, again, this is just a model, an example to look at. You are going to be writing your own body paragraph. You should be referencing this to help guide you, looking at transition words that are used, looking at the way things are worded and how they are explained. Remember, if you're going to be trying to explain about nonlinear plot, that you mention something about the flashbacks in The Seventh Man. And remember, we need to explain how this is all nonlinear plot helps develop our understanding of the main character, the seventh man. So this is what the two body paragraphs would look like if I was to take them and write them out in two body paragraph forms. I just wanted you to see what that looks like. As you can see how well structured and organized, and how because of that it flows very nice and easily, and it's very much readable for the reader. Okay, so like I said, you're going to write your own second body paragraph about nonlinear plot using The Seventh Man. So I've given you you have the worksheet, but I've given you some reminders. So your topic sentence, you need to use a transition word to start the sentence off to show an opposite point of view. Remember when you introduce your example that you use a transition. Also remember it is a title of a short story, so make sure you put quotation marks around it. When you start that commentary sentence, make sure you start off using this shows that helps you and forces you to explain. And it will help you write those stronger commentary sentences. And then in closing, you will want to use some kind of transition word to finally, lastly, in conclusion, you'll want something to close it up. All right, conclusion paragraphs. It's basically, these are about 2 to 3 sentences. You're going to be summarizing those main points, which is just restating the thesis statement without copying it, so it doesn't sound redundant. And you're going to end with some thought-provoking statement or question. It's a good way to leave a punch for your reader, make them think. So again, you're going to write your summary of the main points and put in the graphic organizer. So if I go back to the worksheet, as you can see, you were given the hook and bridge, and you have to do the summary on your own. So you're going to be doing the second body paragraph. The second page pretty much is all on your own, except for that very last sentence. You're going to do the topic sentence, concrete details, commentary, closing, and summarize the main points. And this is all for the nonlinear plot of The Seventh Man. Okay. So here's an example of a summary of the main points in the essay. Clearly, the plot development has an impact on the narrative and shapes how the reader experiences the story. In linear plot, the reader will experience heightened drama and tension in the story, while nonlinear plot will experience character with added depth. Again, notice this is the summary main points. I'm not talking about my examples or anything. It's just the main idea of the essay. So again, you can use this as a model, but you will write your own. And mine took 2 sentences. And then, of course, I gave you the memorable statement. Can a person say one structure is better than the other? Notice I didn't say, can you say? We don't want to use you. We want to keep our writing in third person. So make sure you're not using I, you, we, us. Make sure you're using third person. All right, and that's it. And I know it was a lot. So remember, we are working on this today and tomorrow. So you could work on filling in your graphic organizer today with information and maybe start your body paragraph today, because tomorrow I am going to have a Google Meets. So if you have any questions and need some help, you can ask for some guidance. But if you don't have to do everything today. I would suggest you get the parts of the graphic organizer that we work together on. I suggest, let me get back here. I suggest you fill this part in and then start thinking about this and how you're going to word this. Take some time, make sure you are doing it correctly. Make sure you might want to get a scratch piece of paper out and do that and then type it up. Make sure you're spelling things correctly. You have that luxury of a spell checker so that you're not misspelling any words, and make sure, of course, that you're writing complete sentences and using proper grammar. Okay, so if you have any questions, please email me, message me through Google Classroom, and let's make this a success. Y'all have a good day.